Hello everyone, Forristicat here. Just wanted to put forward my thoughts on the first season, or season 5.1 of Breaking Bad. So I think it has to be agreed upon that Breaking Bad is one of the best TV shows on television at the moment. I have to say that probably Boardwalk Empire, although I have not seen it, Mad Men and Game of Thrones are the other sort of top contenders of this title. And I say that because it's just very obvious that with all these TV shows, these writers, producers, the makers of the TV show, they're very aware of what they're doing. I think Breaking Bad is sort of like a classical example of a showcase that this is the product that you get when the creator, writers, actors all synergistically work together with a shared vision and produce what they set out to do. So this is going to be the final season of Breaking Bad, and as a result we know that everything is going to end. So everyone is sort of very aware that like whatever massive like explosions or bangs or whatever has to happen this season. Primarily the main thing is that at least in my head, is that Hank has to find out about Walter White, and that's what happened with the last episode, which was gliding overall, season 5 episode 8. And I think that's a perfect place to end it. And I was reading this thread on Reddit, and I really think that even though people are like, oh my god, like Walter is screwed now, one poster or two posters posted some really interesting information, which is like, okay, if Walt does decide to sort of twist things, he can twist things in a way against Hank. And that is that, like saying, you're the last one to speak to Gus, you were interested in this investigation, the money could have been used to pay for your occupational therapy, blah blah blah, like things could be actually turned against Hank. And Hank is, a really fantastic character. I don't want to see him go down anyway, but I think that's what has to happen here. I mean, it's very, I'm glad that they ended on a cliffhanger. I mean, they have to. I mean, come on guys, we waited between 9th of October till 15th of July to see this new season, and then boom, like they whack us with this, half season crap to, milk whatever revenue from it. It's disappointing, but nevertheless, like it's such a high quality TV show that of course everyone's going to come back. So, obviously seeing Mike's death, that was sort of, just the way they filmed that stuff, all these references to Jesse James, and like, seeing Mike's death sort of by the riverside there, and like, shut up Walt and let me die in peace, and you got the river flowing, behind them, and just seeing fans' reaction to everything. I think pretty much of this, like, if your TV show is being analysed scene by scene on a symbolic level, like what does this mean, what does that mean, what does this direction shot mean, remember this line from this past episode, you have established a very good TV show there. You got fans clamoring for every single scrap of evidence to sort of solidify or keep in their heads the television show they love so much in between episodes, and of course in between seasons. And I think that's what's happening with Breaking Bad. At least what I've seen, like, of the Breaking Bad community, like online and on reddit.com and stuff like that everyone likes this show a lot, and credit has to be given to Vince Gilligan. This show is great. I mean, just the way the show really does show like a logical progression, and Vince Gilligan has said before, this is a show of how Mr. Chips, which for those who don't know, is like this at least I think like this high school teacher or whatever, that's very sort of like nice and polite. It's meant to be the progression of this, like very nice and polite guy, this everyday sort of guy, to Tony Montana, Scarface. And it's no coincidence that we saw a reference to Scarface and also Heat and all these other movies. So I think also another TV show that sort of like starts referencing other TV shows as part of the tapestry or environment of the show. You're also giving very much more depth to your television show. And people are going to analyse this stuff. Like Heat, as soon as Heat was brought up, everyone's like, okay, Heat's about this guy who they introduce into their situation at the time, and inadvertently and unknowingly leads to like the downfall of one of the characters. And so it's like everyone's like, okay, this Todd character in Breaking Bad, is this going to lead to the downfall of Walter White, etc., etc. What's another major plotline that should be cleaned up? Well, will Jesse find about Walt killing his girlfriend at the time? You know, like will, you know, like Hank and like I guess the main thing is like how is the show going to go forward, especially with the flashback when they open the season. I think it's a great narrative tool, in my opinion, to show like a flashback and then show like the show starting. And then you think to yourself, shit, how the hell does this situation actually occur? And so, you know, with the first episode of the season, which was Live Free or Die, which I think is a Die Hard reference, if I'm not mistaken, has this crazy scene where like he's unpacking like some sort of massive like is it like a grenade launcher or something, and like just a massive gun, and you think, wow, how the hell, you know, did this actually end up on his 52nd birthday, was it? I can't remember what the bacon was saying, but nevertheless, like you think, crap, you know, like obviously like something has to hit the fan for this to happen, and you think, okay, what has happened here? Like, is he running away from Hank, or has he like killed like one of the members of his family, something crazy like that? And speaking about the members of his family, like just how like Skylar was sort of like influenced by Walter, and how, you know, like she actually like wanted to commit suicide in the pool and like float away, and you know, brilliant use of color throughout this TV show. Like for instance, like having the pool be sort of like the place where Walter always observed stuff, you know, where he gave like shots to like Walter Jr. or Flynn in the past, and just having that the same color as like his, you know, sky blue meth product, and he's like staring into it, and you got like it reflecting on his face. And this is stuff that, you know, these directors and, you know, the show creators like painstakingly pick over just to make it perfect. So this is really an example of my criteria for stories, characters and emotions really being jammed up to, you know, maximum level, and then, you know, you get the pudding, which is a fantastic show. And Breaking Bad definitely, I think, will be remembered as one of the best TV shows ever. Like, it seriously is a fantastic show. Maybe not like as artistically ambitious as Mad Men, it's not as, you know, like societal, you know, like commentary-ish, if that's even an adjective, as The Wire, obviously. But nevertheless, like a very entertaining show, which sort of sits in between entertaining you whilst also keeping like a semi-level of realism. So there are terms like, you know, in the last episode, it was like, you know, we'll give you Queen for a day or whatever, and, you know, you look it up, and it's like it's where like the lawyers and stuff want to get some information from you, but they don't want to commit to, you know, like the actual plea bargain. So it's like, okay, you tell us whatever you know, we'll keep it off the record, you just tell us what we know. Like, just the way that they sort of ground these things in reality makes it really interesting. And once again, it comes back to the fact that Walter White originally was his chemistry teacher who was normal, and an interesting thing is like it came from like his desire to sort of make sure that his empire stays within his means and he doesn't get ripped off, because as he references, like his something, I can't remember exactly what it was, like something in high school or something, he could have made more money, but his partners went on and made like you know, like billions with a B, and now, you know, like he's left stranded, so now he doesn't want to let that go. And, you know, he's like saying, you know, are you in the drug business, or, and he says he's in the empire business. It's crazy, and like he had the perfect opportunity to you know, to cut his losses before, but he really doesn't want to, you know, like it's a great demonstration of people's egos and like what happens when you take it to the extreme. And now, of course, Hank. Well, what a fantastic thing! You think that like Hank is going to figure this stuff out like at a very relevant, you know, poignant moment, but he figures this stuff out when he's taking a dump, and then boom, like see his face, he works it out, boom. And like next season, what's going to happen? Is he going to like? Well, my guess is like he's not going to crazily storm out. He's going to keep it very low key. He's going to pull Walter aside, give him some sort of like suggestive things, like he knows what's going on, and then he'll test for Walter's reaction. Then Walter is going to get the hell out of there. And I don't know, this is the best thing, and this is like another thing that demonstrates you've got a very good TV show on your hands. If you can cut the TV show right now and say, okay, the writer's not going to continue with the writing of this TV show, you take the TV show in the direction you want it to. If you can think of many different situations, writings, characters, scenes that you can take that TV show in and make it good and maintain that quality of standard which it has been without, you know, minimal effort, then you have a fantastic piece of television show or fandom on your hands. Which is to say that the person writing this has set it up beautifully, perfectly, in order to take it into many different directions, to the point where you know, I'm not saying you're a crap writer or whatever, but at least you could take hold of it and you could actually like end it in a satisfying way. So, you know, like, they've laid the foundations. They could hand it off to anyone with half a brain, as us talkbackers all have brains, because otherwise we would not be members of this side, and end on a satisfying note. And that's, you know, the case with Game of Thrones. You know, that's the case in many TV shows. Like, you could actually like think of many different storylines to take the story in, and that is, you know, like, pay off for the fact that, you know, VG, Vince Gilligan, all the other show creators have really put together like an interesting piece of storytelling here. So all episodes were great. I like the fact that they tried to expand it outside of, you know, the US, like you know, Germany with Madrigal, and now the Czech Republic. There's some sort of like tension in like the TV community, saying something like, oh, you know, you guys, and like the TV show is not showing like the steps or like how Walter is like building his drug empire now. So as a result, you know, like, they're fast forwarding things too much, like they're just showing him making the money and stuff. But yeah, come on guys, like, with 8 episodes left or whatever, they have to accelerate this plot pretty fast. And I think I read an interview today that, you know, Vince Gilligan is going to take this into some even more darker places. And it's funny because the interview says something like, this TV show is not really dark. Walter has only destroyed like his family relationship, has only killed a couple of people, and has manipulated many people close to him. But this TV show will actually get dark. So I'm thinking, what? This TV show is already pretty dark, yeah? But he's even going to take it, apparently, in some more dark areas. And I think that's fantastic. I really think that for this TV show to have an effective ending, they really have to push the extremes. I think seeing that kid get shot and like buried, like melted away, that was sort of like a very sort of like, you know, like dark moment as well. I think that we need to see more dark moments like that. Something crazy. I think Vince Gilligan said in an interview once that, as much as you might like Walter, my objective, this is quoting him, is to make every single person that likes Walter White hate Walter White. And for me, you know, just seeing him manipulate Jesse and like, you know, talking about him getting back on his addiction and stuff, and probably even before that, you know, that made me dislike Walter from the beginning, from that moment onwards. So I think that he has to sort of like kill a member of his family. I think he has to kill Skylar. I think that's what has to happen. I mean, I can't see any sort of way, you know, without killing a member of his family, that this TV show could get any darker. I mean, even though like he made like Hank, well, not directly, but, you know, with the use of the cousins or whatever, like, you know, him getting pinned under that car and just seeing him, like, that was really tough to watch. Like, it really was. Like, I didn't expect to be affected like that. Watching him, like, you know, like him talking about crapping his pants and him getting addicted to these ridiculous minerals and stuff, always in bed. And now, you know, he works at it. You know, Walter White, you know, his brother-in-law, like, is actually this, meth sort of empire drug lord. That's just insane. And I think this TV show will come full circle, and that Vince Gilligan will sort of, funnily enough, maybe not end it with Walter White dying traditionally, like as you think, like with a grenade launched into his chest, a la Tony Montana, but actually, like, I think like he will get his cancer back or something like that. I think they're going to be really tricky with the ending and when it comes back, and that it'll be something we don't really expect. But nevertheless, like, yeah, this is Vince Gilligan's baby, and I think that with the amounts of quality he's produced in these episodes, I honestly like how he can't land it perfectly unless he actually starts taking some meth himself and he goes crazy himself. But nevertheless, with, you know, around 2 minutes to go, Breaking Bad, fantastic show, definitely one of the best TV shows on at the moment. I think it definitely will be remembered. I mean, the two words that come to mind, just like it came to mind with Mad Men, is character development. Like, really, like, you see the steps that this normal high school teacher who is normal, is a family man, you know, he's like, okay, I'm going to die of cancer, let me get into the drug business, and step by step he's becoming this drug lord. And like, you know, like, you ask yourself, what would you have to do to go through those steps to actually become someone like that? And this is like a showcase example of someone that's actually going through those motions, and it does sort of make sense, like, you know, like from A to B to C to D. Yeah, if you did all those things and, like, you know, you killed someone, then it's like, okay, well, I might as well be a drug lord now, so I may as well set up my empire. okay, I've had some like burns in the past from not taking advantage of money before, blah blah blah, da da da. All this like accumulates to what Vince Gilligan described as what his story was aiming to be, which was the transition of Mr. Chips to Tony Montana's Scarface. And I think that when it comes back, we're going to be in for a treat. And I think Breaking Bad, if not already, is definitely one of the best TV shows out there at the moment. And I'm just very glad to be alive when I'm watching it, because I realise that it's a fantastic piece of fandom, which goes to show you that if you put effort into your things, into your writing, directing, acting, you get a quality product which makes sense, which is exactly what we need in today's age of fandom. And on that note, I'm going to break out of here and wish you all peace, and I'm going to end this video. Let me know your thoughts. Breaking Bad, fantastic first half of season 5. Goodbye.